Hi there. In this video, we're gonna look at three real-world assets and also trade finance crypto projects, including Hedera, Casper, XDC. Okay. If you're new to my session, I'll cover the Wyckoff stage, potential price trend change, as well as key price levels. These are education content only, not financial advice. And the newsletter and dashboards that helps you avoid FOMO and avoid panic is now available on Substack at SLS. Let's start with the very first one, Hedera. If we look at the weekly chart, we see that Hedera is in the mid stage, at least, okay, of the accumulation cycle. Basically, what that means is that the whales in this stage, they're going to test, okay, shaking the price up and down to check out the remaining paper hands. The range that they have been doing this is around the blue key level of 0.077 all the way to the red key level of 10 cents. Okay, that 10 cents level has been tested for 6 consecutive weeks. And now the price is coming back down to re-challenge the support of 0.077. Okay, it tested it in early February. In an earlier session when I talked about Algorand and Cardano Polkadot, I mentioned that that particular week was very indicative for a lot of altcoin projects. Okay, basically some whale have gone in and bought the dip, pushing the price back to a higher support level. So this time, with a much more uncertain macro environment, when the test comes, if it still finds the same support, look at this long wick from here. If it still finds the same level of support, that means those whales who bought here are still willing to get in at this point. So that's, I would say, a pretty positive sign. Another thing to help us read is that the volume, the selling to a lower point, has been lower and lower and lower. That means the commitment from the bears aren't very high. Or, in other words, there's not much paper hands left at this point. Okay, even having the war in the Middle East broke out, plus a lot of other concerns triggered by high oil prices. Okay? May it be food shortage or energy shortage, all those. Is it the silence before the storm, or is it a real test of a solid bottom for crypto market this round? We'll soon find out. But back to Hedera. In terms of Wyckoff, we want to see a sign of strength, meaning price continues to climb with higher than average volume, retesting the resistance or the trading range top set by the automatic rally over here. Okay, that's the yellow key level of 12 cents 90. Okay, we haven't seen this yet. That's the very first sign that has to happen before the actual climb to another high can show up. Okay, because that's when people are willing to come back in. I'm not saying there won't be any track back. The price can still be coming back down to retest the support levels. But you need that run to show the market, okay, some people are started to be interested again, or started to get willing to get in again. In terms of micro view, we see from the daily chart that this downtrend is still continuing. Okay, it is, the price is traveling along this support line. So given the development over here, it's a bit tricky, right? Because the wicks have dropped outside of the box. Okay, if I adjust it, definitely it still works. And interestingly, let's do it this way. Let me copy a box so we can compare next time when we come back to this session. So let's adjust according to the wick just 5 days ago. And let me change this to yellow. So here, what we can see is that the blue box, the original box, this channel, assuming that this is the path that it is traveling through. Originally, we said by 24th of April, which is about 20 days from now, the price is going to head towards the tip of this wedge. And if that's the case, there are only two things that the price can do. Either confirm the bigger downtrend is over, because this downtrend is of a less steep slope compared to this bigger downtrend. You see the difference, right? There's like a gap angle of 20-30 degrees. So either it exits, break outside of the ceiling of the bigger downtrend. This is the bigger downtrend. Or it continues, it gets rejected from this ceiling and then breaks the support of this blue box. Okay, that's when we get closer to the 24th of April. However, given what happened over here over the past few days, if this downtrend is actually steeper than the blue, okay, this time the gap angle is not as big. It's probably like 5-10 degrees max. This date that the yellow box points to is very close to where the larger downward channel crosses the blue key level of 0.077. It's somewhere around the 30th of April. Okay, just 1 week later than this date. So when we get closer and closer to the end of April, that decision point comes in. Okay, either it breaks outside of this big downtrend that started way back here in July of this time, last year. Okay, we're getting to that point. Truth revealed whether the downtrend is going to get any deeper. Because if it breaks below the blue line, the 0.077, it is going to test the previous trading range top of the accumulation back in 2024 summer, all the way into November. All right, that's the 0.06 light blue key level. If the blue here doesn't hold. So this month is very key for Hedera. All right, this was February. I talked about this in the session just now when I talked about Algorand, Cardano, and Polydot. This pair of candles happened in almost every altcoin's chart. So now, having said that, let's go to Casper. You see this? They are of different sizes, but it's pretty indicative with the high volume. Long red candle, but the next white candle also pretty long. Go check the other crypto charts, in your own tool. You will see something similar. So what it tells us is that some whales have gone in when the price dropped to that level. And this time, with a much worse macro and geopolitical environment, this is being retested. And if the whales, whatever whales gone in early February, if they come back in again, okay, for Casper's case, this has been retested many times, right? If this line over here, 0.0028, the bulls successfully defended once again, then this becomes more solid as a support because Casper has been seeking an all-time low. And if this is really the bottom, congratulations. If not, because of the world getting crazy, that's still understandable. This date has passed. All right. Basically, this sideways trend hasn't finished yet. that started in January. What about if this is a new downtrend, assuming, like I said, because the world has gone crazy after what happened in the Middle East, if this is a downtrend that reacts to what's happening around the world now, we are getting to this point, April 7th. Again, moment of truth. Is this downtrend going to break the seemingly solid support that has been around since early February, or actually is end Feb over here. Early Feb did not go to the white line. It's 28th of February, the very last day of February. And then found support for the next 2 weeks, all the way up till March 15th. Okay, now it has come down to retest, and in a day or two, we'll get to know, okay, is the price going to get rejected by this ceiling and bridge the dash line? That means a new exploration is going to continue. New bottom exploration. If it doesn't, if it finds solid support, then do what it did during the first 2 weeks of March, that's a little bit relieving because there's still a solid foundation. That means probably no more paper hands around. Okay? So we jumped ahead from the big picture, still the testing period. Okay, checking out paper hands, not seeing any signs that it can break above this 0.0042 yet, given it is testing the support at the lower level, actually below this yellow line when you get to the daily chart, you can see. So the very first step we want to see before we can see the sign of strength coming to challenge the green key level of 0.0235 is to pass the red line, because that's where the initial panic over stage was. Okay, you see the crazy volume that came in after the price hitting that point. Just to come down, retest again. All right, so that's for Casper. Now, XDC. XDC, pretty early stage in the accumulation. Maybe getting close to the panic over stage. And the level it is at, between the purple key level of 0.031 all the way down to 0.026, the blue key level, was, again, the accumulation range of both 2022-23 accumulation as well as 2024 accumulation. So XDC is back to where it was accumulating 2 times over the past 4 years. All right. So no surprise if the test continues to hover around, and if we ever get the automatic rally, don't get overexcited. You can obviously do your standard trading practice, may it be pushing your stop loss, riding the wave. So if it really drops back for a deep test, you're protected, you're locked in your game. All right. And then obviously we have to check the micro, right? What happened over here is that we talked about it last week. By April 3rd, we'll get an answer. Is the downtrend going to continue? Because last week when we were talking about this, the price kind of faked out, closed back within the channel, and then get rejected for 3 consecutive days, missing the March 29th window. But the next window, the support created by the same magic day of February 5th and 6th, provided the springboard for the price to get outside of the downtrend, this big downtrend. For XDC's case, this happened way back in 22nd of July. That's very first drop, marked the beginning of this downtrend. And now it is officially over. all right, because it stayed outside of the channel for 3 days already. But it is still being suppressed by the purple key level of 0.031. So be cautious when I say break outside of a downtrend. It doesn't mean it's going to do a V shape. Some of you left a comment and said, I said breakout and it did not happen. It's not a V shape for the breakout. It doesn't mean that. It means it's gotten outside of a channel. And then it can exhibit a sideways movement, especially in these kind of environment where people are more cautious. And then, we're glad enough if they're not panicking, right? So, and then obviously it can re-challenge the previous resistance level. This is the 0.035 for the case of XDC. We see right over here. It has been, kept testing the red line. So if it does break above, which this white volume has declined, it's mixed message basically over here, because these high volume, the red ones, the price did not go very deep. Okay, it's basically still staying above this yellow dash line. That means there were people buying, even though the price closed lower. All right, and then the volume stay low. That means the base case is more or less like range bound between the yellow dash line and the purple key level of 0.031. It all depends on how the Middle East situation develops, as well as the economic data from the US coming out for April. That's going to decide whether one of these kind of lines, the support and resistance, are going to be broken. I already mentioned for XDC, 2 rounds. It was accumulating in the past 4 years within this range, from the blue line to the purple line. At some point, the worst moment, the price went all the way to the light blue key level of 0.022. And in the case of 2022, for a few days, it has gone way lower. All right, so I have marked another key level here already, just in case the world has gone so crazy that it has to go to retest those levels. All right, not that I hope to see it happen, because for the past 4 years, the current range has been the range. Worst case, 1 level down. So from this point, the yellow dash line to the light blue key level, that's another 25% drop if it really wants to come to test this low. But this point to the blue 0.026, about 10-12%. Okay? I'm talking about the yellow dash line, all right? The current price is a little bit higher at around the purple key level. Purple to the blue line is around 15%. Okay, so remember, when you hope for the upside momentum to continue, also calculate your downside risk. If you're interested to access these sessions 2 days earlier, like the other members, join the channel membership now. And remember, the dashboards and newsletters that help you avoid FOMO and panic is available on Substack at SLS. Thank you. See you in the next session.